Welcome back to another episode of Sea Devil Sessions University Transfer Edition. I am your host, Lucinda McNamara, Dean of University Transfer and Partnerships. And listener, you are in for a rare treat, as my co-host today is Mr. Timothy Vandenberg, video producer for community relations and marketing. Timothy.
That sounded very fancy.
Yes, thank you for joining us today.
I am so excited for today and for today's guest because we've got a super neat one.
Neat,
groovy.
Wow, we're so hip.
We're so
with
hip.
The word neat.
I tell you, you kids are going to be real jazzed about this one. Today's faculty spotlight is Miss Sandra McClammy. Sandra works in the Humanities department at CFCC. She has worked for the college for over 15 years. And a neat little bit, she is also known as the Midday Miss on Coast 97.3. She's been a DJ, I believe, for almost 20, 30 years.
Something like that, yeah.
What else we got going on around town?
Fall is in the air, Timothy. Fall is in the air.
Yes, pumpkin spice and all the wonderful things.
Yes, have you had your pumpkin latte yet?
I'll tell you what, my wife has been getting the old pumpkin spice latte, and I'm ashamed to say I'll drink a pumpkin beer now with a brown sugar rim.
You are bougie.
It's bougie, but I tell you what, she's converted me.
Okay.
Yeah, fall's in the air. Kind of a neat thing going on is we have the Chapel of Horrors. I believe it's a Port City haunted house being put on by some special effects and makeup artists that are local here to Wilmington and been around. But more importantly, we have some of our film students actually contributing and working on the project.
Our film and video production students that come out of the North Campus, I think, are helping on that.
Yeah, and I think the theme, I believe, for it is movie related. So Alien and Jason.
Scary.
So yeah, it's a great tie-in for our film and video kids and should be something different to check out.
Well, and a Halloween fun fact is that any of the students that are here walking through the S building, you know that was featured in Halloween Kills, one of the Halloween films that was shot right here in Wilmington. So give that a look if you can stomach it.
That's
and
right.
Check out our building. Anyway, on to Sandra. All right, everyone, you are in for a treat today because we have the very popular and famous Sandra McClammy as our faculty spotlight today. Thank you for coming here, Sandra.
I am so excited.
I asked you this before, but is it Sandra or is it Sandra?
It is Sandra, because that other thing that I do, radio, is Sandra the Midday Miss.
That's right. So are you a Wilmingtonian?
I am a Wilmingtonian, and I did a little growing up in Maryland, which is why my dialect and my accent is accentless. So between the ages of 9 and 18, I spent 4 months with my sister. She would pick me up the last day of school. I would stay with her until the first day of school. So I did that for 9, 10 years.
And you're a New Hanover High School graduate.
I am a proud Wildcat. Mm-hmm. Yes. And I give back to the school. I go back as much as possible. And I even taught there for a little while. I taught Avid for a while. Before, now it's Stay, but I taught there. Jessica Miriola got me into, that program. She was pregnant at the time, and she needed to fill in. And the rest is history. And then I ended up teaching para. I actually was teaching Avid, and then I was a para educator. So I actually helped the HFA students. So I went to class with them. So I got some experience working with high-functioning autistic students at my alma mater.
Yeah, go Wildcats.
Yes. What exactly do you do here at the school?
Here at Cape Fear, I teach humanities. I came here teaching English. Jill Lonstein is the person that hired me in the English department. And so I came here teaching developmental English. I was at a luncheon, and Frank Carter was sitting at the table with me, and we were talking about something, right? And he said, you should come to my office one day. Let's have a good conversation. I said, sure. And so we had this conversation about life. And so he said, you have an interesting perspective. And I said, well, some people say that. And I said, but I have a big personality and I have a big family. I'm a Southern girl, but I had Maryland and DC exposure, so I kind of am all over the place. He said, great. And then about 2 months later, I looked at my schedule and I had critical thinking classes. And I said, I don't remember us talking about that, but he did mention it. And so the next thing you know, I'm teaching critical thinking. And then I have a conversation with Brandon Guthrie one day. And we were just talking about stuff. And somehow the South got in there. And so Brandon said, you should teach Southern cultures. And I said, okay. And about 2 months later, I looked at my schedule.
You were teaching veterinary medicine?
I better not talk about the fact that I had cats and all of that, because then that'll be the next thing. But that's how I ended up in humanities. It is right up my alley. I just love it. I'm excited. And I know that sounds kind of geeky and corny, but the human condition, along with the academics that we have with math, science, and English is important, but you're a person first. And that's what I think, humanities adds to that. And it gives students purpose. That's the feedback I get from them.
Nice.
You also do something else here in town that people might know you for.
Right. I am on the radio. And I have been on the radio for 29 years. I'm on WMNX, Coast 97.3, Cumulus Broadcasting. One day I was washing my car. I had a Honda Prelude with the flip-up lights. And
Sweet.
And I saw the radio station, and I saw the program director, and I was passing by. And I said, let me do my best acting right now. So I pulled up, and I said, excuse me, I would like to be a radio DJ. And he said, do you have any experience? And I said, did you have any experience when you first started? And he said, that's the best answer. And 29 years later.
Look at that.
I started out Yo Girl Sandra. Gerald McSwain trained me, and I said, people have radio names. What do they call themselves? I don't want to make up a name. I'm from Wilmington. People are going to be like, that's Tree from Hanover.
Right.
Because that was my nickname. And I was like, I can't be fake. I got to be real. And so he said, well, act like you're on the phone. Be everybody's homegirl. Your girl Sandra. So I was your girl Sandra for years. And then there was this maturation that happened at some point. And it was like, oh, you kind of got to take it up a level. And I was like, well, I want to be everyone's miss in the afternoon. So I'm your midday miss.
It suits you.
It rolls off the tongue.
And that's how I evolved.
All right. So what have you noticed about the differences in students since you began teaching here? And how long have you been here, actually?
Now, I've been here for 15 years. And I've just noticed, attitude. The attitude towards learning change. And so the passion has kind of changed a little bit, but to their credit, it's not really them. Technology has sucked it out of them.
Yeah.
And so it's almost like we leaned on a microwave to quickly cook things for us. They're quickly using technology to make up their minds. And so they don't really know how to think. And that's why I really think my class is important, because I'm going to try to bring you back to thinking. Even with your non-traditional students, they always have passion. But even with them, more now, you'll get the non-traditional student that used to be the banker for 20 years. And now that every bank is closing, now they're here because their industry is going away. And now I need to become a pharmacist. So I'm not here because I really want to. I'm just here because I just picked this and okay, so I got to take this class. So the passion is not really there like it used to be.
We talked about this a little bit with Dr. Rocks. I think COVID and the pandemic as a whole just really had a huge effect on our student population of all ages. It's been difficult to get them to come back to class in person, but that social dynamic is so important. They need to be here. They need to be interacting with one another.
And I teach that in ACA, in College Transfer Success. When that class first started, the lean was on academics. And when I got on that committee to kind of revise the class, I said, I think what is really important is that we have to teach social and academic success. So we need to teach them, you need to make sure you're here because you're going to competitive colleges. I think about UNCW. I look at my students, sometimes the lowest GPA is 4.3. They're coming in with these weighted GPAs, and that's great. But can you have a conversation? That's not text. And one of the things we added to that course was that, and we have a unit now that's called Managing Your Life as a College Student. And so we really kind of focus, and, it's funny, that's what I just did this last week. I was like, we're not going to talk about academics. We're going to talk about your health, your mental health, all this stuff. You got to carry that with you, too, when you transfer. It's not just grades and classes.
So soft skills, and I think the biggest thing I notice is, most of us in our age group or older, if you were in a situation where you were bored or were waiting in line or had stuff, you had to develop communication skills and talk to people.
Yeah.
Now you can just go on your phone. And then now you're never developing those skills, and those things are huge.
Exactly.
that's one thing that I miss about my relationship with students in the classroom. You know, a number of years ago, I felt like we really had more of a relationship, and now it just seems very surfacey. It might seem weird for an instructor to say that because maybe the students aren't even thinking about it, but we really thrived on that environment where we would have these conversations with our students, and I just feel like we're missing that. And I also want the students to realize that they tend to be more successful when they're in the classroom too.
That is true.
All right. We got
right.
some
Yeah.
rapid fire questions,
Sandra, are
right?
you ready? Are you
Yes.
ready for these rapid fire questions?
I'm ready.
What is your most favorite thing about your job?
Manipulation. Good manipulation. I know that I can change a mood or a mind.
All right. And is that your favorite thing about your radio job too?
The favorite thing about my radio job is that I know that I'm going to play something or I'm going to say something that's going to make somebody think or make their day better.
What sound or noise
No,
do you love?
what is your least favorite thing about your job? Are you not
Oh,
reading these
goodness.
in order?
I don't know.
Oh my God.
Math, it wasn't, that wasn't my strong point in order.
Oh my
Louise.
gosh.
Let's go with your least favorite thing. There's an idea. Let's ask you your least favorite thing about
The
your
least
job.
favorite thing about my job, especially at Cape Fear, is and at UNCW, just with teaching general, is that I know that, and deep down inside, whether I want to admit it or not, I did not reach somebody today. I really want to be, I don't want to say a perfectionist, but I want everybody to be moved. But I know there's one or two people that could care less or did not get it. It's not me, it's just the reception.
What sound or noise do you love?
The sound that I love is the sound of music. I purposely go to my class at least 10 to 15 minutes early, and I pull up Pandora, and I have these different lists. And I think it's a part of humanities. Every day you walk in, you're going to hear something different. The days that I don't, I notice a difference in my class.
What sound or noise do you hate?
I hate smacking. I hate it if I can hear you eat.
Yeah, I got that.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
That is such a good one to, yeah.
Oh my God, it drives me nuts. And maybe that's why I'm single. You probably didn't know this. I was married at one point for 17 years.
I did not know that.
I was married for 17 years.
But he was a smacker.
One crouton away from a divorce.
What one piece of advice do you have for college students?
The best advice I have for them is to live. And the reason why I say that is that's the last word that my mother said to me before she passed away. She was the strongest, tiniest woman I knew. She was only 4'10".
Oh.
I am 6 feet. My father was 6'5". People thought I was adopted. But I look exactly like my mom. I just look like she would look if she was tall. But I unfortunately lost my mom in 2013. And that last month, she was the biggest fighter. And she stopped talking a lot. On my birthday, on November 14th, she beckoned me to come to her because she couldn't talk very loud. And she said, live. And I was like, what? Live? I was like, okay, And I looked at my mother. I said, not today. And she said, she just laughed because I was like, look, lady, if you want to go on, don't do it on my birthday. And she thought it was the funniest thing. But from that point on, my mom didn't say anything else. And my mom passed away exactly 7 days later. I took it and I went through a point of depression and all this other stuff, but then I got it. And that's what I want my students to do. Just live. Take the experience you have as a student as the best experience because you're getting to learn, you're getting to live. You will never get that back. And I always tell people I have more yesterdays than I got tomorrows. And so don't waste it. Just take those moments. Use your resources. Know what your tuition and your fees are for. Go to the library. Some students have never been to the library. I'm like, go. These are resources. Live. Just live. Take everything that is in front of you and use it and utilize it.
That's beautiful.
What are 2 college transfer major options for someone interested in humanities?
Definitely take an ethics course. I would think like if you get into ethics, it really is almost like Vicks Vapor Rub.
I love that stuff.
It
Not gonna
opens
lie.
up your senses. And what I think ethics does is make you really think about what you said you want to major in. Maybe you don't, because it's going to open you up to so many other things that you'll figure a lot of your capabilities that you probably have just put to the wayside because it's just natural to you, but that probably could be enhanced by something that you take in college. So I definitely would advocate taking some sort of ethics course. And of course, I'm going to say take an English class. Learn linguistics and learn grammar. so that you know how to communicate. So between ethics and English, grammar, I think those are the two most important bridges.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
This is really weird because I'm kind of a weird person. Because I have weird likes, like I like frogs. I love frogs. People think it's weird, but I like frogs.
Like tree frogs or toads?
I just like big old ugly cute toads.
Okay.
They're cute and ugly. So I have weird stuff, so you'll be surprised when I tell you this. But profession that I would really like is I would love to be a pilot.
Ooh.
I would love to be able to fly that big old plane.
You're not afraid of heights?
I am and I'm not, probably because I'm tall.
It's different, though, isn't it? My brother's a pilot, but he's afraid of heights standing, right? So physically being in high places versus flying is different for him. So it might be the same for
it's
you.
Like control. I think the
Yeah, it
plane,
is a
I can
control
control
issue.
it,
Yeah.
What profession would you not like to attempt?
I would not. I'm going to tell you right now what I'm not doing is I am not going to be a daycare teacher. Not daycare, not kindergarten, not first, second, third. I am not. I knew what I was as a kid. I am not hurting. I have seen people that in that profession, and I have a lot of patience, but you got to have patience on top of patience.
I don't know how they do it.
And the way these kids are now, and I hear the way some young kids talk, I heard a 5-year-old sound like a 35-year-old. I could not do that job.
But that's good that you know that about yourself. What is your favorite film?
The film that I will watch over and over again, I know this is crazy, but I love the movie Boomerang
Oh, my goodness.
with Eddie Murphy.
I was gonna say.
love that movie. And I'm a movie person. I love a lot of films.
That's not dating us at all either, by the way, Sandra.
Yeah,
Boomerang.
it's not dating us.
Is that Robin
like
Givens in that too, I
90s.
think, or-
Yeah, Robin
Robin
Givens is
Givens,
in it.
yeah.
If you're going to put a movie on, and I love a lot of 90s movies. I love Best Man and all those movies. But Boomerang by far, and I even used the scene in that film with them talking about the kissable lipstick.
Okay.
And I use that in my class, when we start talking about marketing. But I love Boomerang.
Eddie Murphy's gold.
Yes.
Well, final question. What advice would you give to your 18-year-old self about your future?
Stop doubting yourself.
Oh,
When I was 18, I was ambitious and doubtful at the same time. Worst combination you could ever have. I had already made a decision that because of the way I grew up, I wanted to be around people that didn't look like me. That was firm. I grew up in a black neighborhood. At the time that I went to New Hanover High, it was more predominantly African American than it is now. Of course, when I went to Hanover then, it was only 10th, 11th, 12th. So I went to school during that era. So I made a decision that moving forward, I wanted to be around people that didn't look like me because I would literally get around a person that was white and be uncomfortable because I just wasn't used to it. And I always thought, what was I supposed to say? Am I supposed to say something different? And, this person looks different than me, but are we the same? And I never was taught that we're the same. But at the same time, what would happen at 18 when I was at UNCW, instead of, go ahead and do this, I was very doubtful. So what I did was I just said, no, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And then I would try to be ambitious, like I tried out to be the Seahawk.
Wait, the mascot?
Yeah.
What?
I did. I tried out to be the Seahawk. So I was
Sammy,
ambitious.
he has a name. Mom, his name is Sammy.
But I was very doubtful. So I would tell my 18-year-old self, don't doubt yourself. Just do it. And I'm fearful at, what I could have probably been doing at that time. If I would have, all of the things that I doubted and I said don't do, I wonder where I probably would have been if I would have just went ahead and did it. I was even doubtful coming here. Because at the time that I applied here, I had applied here in my mind for about 5 years. And somebody said, why don't you just apply? And I was like, oh, well, no, So then I was like, okay, I'll do it.
Sandra McClammy, a sheer joy to have you here with us today.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm excited. I think that it was an honor.
I think one of the neatest things is after you've been teaching here so long, how clearly passionate you still are. You can tell by your answers, you care about the students having an experience and really pulling something away. So that was really neat to kind of witness.
Thank
so, yeah,
you.
we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, listener, I know there are some dates and deadlines always lingering out there for university transfer, and we have resident drama instructor Jack Landry on board to fill you in.
Here's the next 2 weeks. Tuesday, October 17th, The first mini session grades are due by 5 p.m. It's extra exciting because the second mini session starts on Tuesday, October 17th also. Wednesday, October 18th is the last day to add or drop for the second mini session. Friday, October 20th is the last day to drop for 75% refund on the second mini session for most classes. Some classes maybe not. Monday, October 23rd, the grade of W begins for the second mini session. I'll leave it to you to figure out what that's about, but it's really important. Saturday, October 28th, Saturday classes end. Monday, October 30th, priority registration begins for spring of 2024, if you're a priority. That's it.
Once again, to fill us in on our upcoming academic and cultural events, we have CFCC Student Life Coordinator, our head women's basketball coach, and host of her own podcast for your ears only, the one, the only, Taylor Todd Williams.
Thank you, Lucinda. I'm so happy to be back.
Yes.
We have some fun things coming up, starting with Monday, October 15th, Invisible Disability Month Student Panel. Hear from your fellow students on what it's like to be a student at CFCC living with disability at 11 a.m. in U170. Tuesday, October 16th, Do Not Stress. Come pick up some tips about stress relief from counseling services at 10 a.m. in Union Station Lobby. October 17th, we have UNCW on campus for their transfer team visit. Get all your questions answered about transferring to UNCW from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. in the Union Station Lobby. October 19th, we have the PTK monthly member merge. If you're not a part of PTK, what are you doing? 3:15 p.m. in L110. October 23rd, we have the Accessible Art Showcase. View student art, bringing awareness to what it's like being a student with a disability at CFCC. This will be from 8:30 to 5 p.m. in the Union Station Lobby. CFCC Music Faculty and Friends Concert will be from 7 to 8 p.m. on the Wilson Center stage. This will be music performances featuring CFCC instructors. October 25th, we have Wind Down Wednesday presented by the Nixon Leader Center. Learn stress reduction techniques and relaxation methods from 2 to 3 p.m. in U152.
Thank you, Taylor. That was a lot of good stuff.
Absolutely, and we got more fun things coming up. We have the Carly Rae Classic, November 2nd and 3rd.
Yes. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, Tim, we did it. We made it through episode 2 of this podcast. Look at us.
Look at us. We went on a journey together.
Learning.
Learning is fun. Talking to people.
We are lifelong learners. And Sandra, it was great having her. She's just amazing.
Yeah, and really interesting to talk to.
So I want to thank you, listener, for tuning in to listen to us again for episode 2. We hope to have another one coming out around November the 1st. And until then,
go to class.
C-Double Sessions University Transfer Edition is brought to you by CFCC's Community Relations Department. Original theme music by Nicholas Montalbano and Fermin Chavez Ramos. Audio engineering by Mitchell White and Tim Vandenberg. For questions or comments, please contact us at cdevilsessions@cfcc.edu.